Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the Rapido HO Scale C30-7. That's a mouthful, but as you can see, we've got UP and CSX here. The UP and the 78 Plus version has delivered scheme. CSX YN2 scheme 95 Plus. So let's take a look at what you get in these locomotives starting right now. It's a little protector sleeve to remove from the box. The box has schematic drawings of the C30-7 and LokSound logo, MoPower, which is their onboard capacitor, and the Rapido trains logo on there. Inside you'll find a manual, a locomotive service manual here, with 23 pages of information because this is I guess not dual English and Canadian like you see sometimes, maybe because this locomotive is primarily down here in the United States. Here's an exploded parts diagram for both the late and early versions with the two different types of trucks, and a bunch of stickers from Rapido, and the locomotive itself is in here, so we'll pop that out. And there's some foam surrounding it in this hard plastic, I call it blister packaging. So I'll pop the lid off here. Locomotive pops out, and we'll get all of the handrail protection out and take a closer look at this. Going to the front of the UP version here, you have a firecracker antenna up front, number boards on each side of the headlight, a brake wheel on the nose, separately applied grabs on the nose, along with a sand filler hatch dead center. We're going to zoom in a little more here. There are classification lights on each side of the headlight, Union Pacific printed on the nose as well. The front stanchions with a safety chain drooped on the front, and a drop step. Snowplow with the accessory hoses and MU hose window there on the snowplow. Metal coupler with a magnetic glad hand. There are grab irons on the snowplow as well. A coupler cut lever. There's an MU receptacle there below the anti-climber as well. On the side, you'll see the truck detail, including the chain, speed recorder, the axles, sanding lines. There's the fuel tank detail, including there's some reservoir and plumbing there. Got an air dryer, more of the same detail on the rear there as well, including the brake actuator on the rear. Going up to the body of the locomotive, there on occasion is a little bit of a bowing effect on the grills of the radiator fan back here, but there's the compartment detail, the exhaust, battery box doors, the cab, which has a cab interior, the beacon light, horn, the brake wheel we talked about before, and the firecracker antenna we talked about before. There's a good side view on the rear. Got another drop step. These drop steps are positionable, so you can have it down or up, as you can see there. Coupler, cut lever, and a lot of the other features we talked about on the rear, including that airline hose, and then the brake line hose, and all the accessory hoses on the rear as well. Stanchions. The walkway is patterned and treaded, so that's nicely detailed also. More of the same on the other side. Get the radiator fan grill detail on the side as well. And working our way back up towards the front there, where you can see some of that cab interior detail on the locomotive. So there's a quick 360 of the Union Pacific version. Let's take a look at the CSX. So you're going to have road name, number specific detail. So the CSX has ditch lights above the anti-climber. As you can see here, there's an MU hose installed, kind of forming that funky looking W there. Coupler cut bars. No snow plow installed. That is the CSX C30-7s. The horn is in a different place. There's no beacon. Different, no antenna actually to speak of on the roof as well. And so different configuration altogether on this, and even a different window configuration on the side. So Rapido is not just slapping paint schemes on the same model. You've got a different cab window configuration, different cab configuration altogether on this CSX version. A lot of the same details apply though in terms of level of detail. You've got your brake chain and your coupler cut lever, the MU hose, accessory hose, airline hose, separately applied grabs. Handrails are nice and straight. You do have printing. I'll try to zoom in on this on the trucks there. You can get a nice good look at the trucks. Jacking pads, something we didn't mention on the other version. Get a nice good look at the actual model as well on the details on the actual body of the model. So spare coupler knuckles there on the back. MU receptacle on the back as well. Separately applied grabs. Again with the safety chain going between the stanchions back here. Lit number boards. Lots of lighting features on this we'll go over later. And we're back to the front here. You've even got your rear windshield wipers, front windshield wipers installed. Air dryer. There's your speed recorder on the trucks. The fuel tank has your sight glasses. CSX logo there with the brakes in the compartment detail showing on the CSX logo. So pretty well executed model, even that nice finely detailed metal windshield wipers on the front as well. Alright, we're going to weigh one of these. Got 1.18 pounds, that's 18.9 ounces, 537 grams. So almost 1 pound 3 ounces on these models. Not a bad weight at all. Okay, we're going to go through some sounds on this ESU LokSound decoder. First, F8 starts the prime mover, so let's hit that. One is bell. Two is horn. Three is flange squeal. We have to get it moving to hear that. We're also going to hear brake squeal. Alright, so there's flange squeal. 4 is dynamic brake if equipped. I don't know that these are, I don't think they are. 5 is Doppler horn. So it sounds a little different than the main horn there on the Doppler horn. 6 ditch lights if equipped, but it's not on this. It is on the CSX, I'll show you that later. 7 dims the headlight under Rule 17 lighting. F is start up and shut down like mentioned. F8 is. 9's drive hold, so wherever you're moving this at, it's going to basically stay at that certain speed while the change in the throttle movement is going to increase your prime mover RPMs if you actually press F9. So that's just an explanation of how that works, I should say. It's been a long day. F10 is independent brake. 11 directional class lights. Let's see if that, yeah, that is lit on those. We'll try to show you some things in the dark as well on these. 12 switching mode, 13's rear headlight, 14's rotary beacon. So, I gotta say about this NCE, we've been having problems with this on these. So, I've had the rotary beacon working before, so we'll see if I can get that demonstrating for you. Maybe on, I can't tell, but I'll show you that in the dark. 15's front class lights, 16's, oh there it is, 16's beacon. That's what it is right there. Alright, there we go. 17's rear class lights, 18 is step lights. I think this is the first time I've seen step lights on the model, but I want to show you those in the dark. And 19 is number boards. So those are the functions. We're going to shift to showing you some of these functions in the dark real quick. So let's go ahead and do that now. So just for a frame of reference, there's the light on the locomotive for a second. I'm going to drop that light. Now you can see the headlight, number board lights, classification lights, and the step lights for the steps. And you can also see inside there are control stand lights. So this locomotive, I believe, is the first locomotive with step lighting that I've reviewed, to my knowledge. I've reviewed a lot of locomotives. I don't think I have before. You can see the beacon activated, and again, all of those lights are going to be individually controlled on and off with all the different functions we've mentioned. If we pan this way, so I'm going to turn to the rear of the locomotive. You can see the rear step lights as well, and the rear light also works under a function. So that is the locomotive in the dark. Let's take another angle for the inside control stand lighting. Okay, again, just a quick view. There's your locomotive. There it is in the dark. There's the control stand lighting and the step lights, so you can see kind of a perspective beacon light up top. So really nice features in the dark on this locomotive. The rear number boards are illuminated as well. I can show you a quick view from the rear. Okay, here's a look at the rear. Heading F13 activates the rear light. So there you have that. You can see the rear lights, the rear class lights, all of that jazz. So there's a look from the back of the locomotive. Alright, here you go with the CSX version. I was having some issues with my DCC controller. I honestly believe it was something with the cab more than the locomotive, because one cab does fine, the other one was having problems getting the ditch lights to turn on. But the wired cab is fine. It's the wireless NCE Pro cab I was having a problem with the ditch lights. But anyway, the ditch lights are on. I just wanted to show you this CSX version real quick. Flashing ditch lights, which is correct when the horn is blown. And that is what this version looks like. We're going to move forward with this version for further testing. So we'll start with slow speed control at 1 speed step here. I'm going to get my AccuTrack 2 speedometer. We'll zoom out so you can see smooth, slow speed control. Whether you like it or not, determination if you can determine if you think it's smooth. A lot of my testing is for you to determine whether you're wanting to purchase the model. The testing is purely for something that can't be manipulated, so you can determine for yourself. So right now we're at 1 speed step. Your eyes can tell the story, but it does look pretty smooth. A little bit of shudder, but not much. We're going to see what speed this is going at slow speed control. It should be calculating here in a second. 0.7 scale miles per hour, so pretty slow speed control there. And again, I'll remove this so you can see what that looks like at the slowest speed. 1 out of 128 on my NCE Pro Cab, and I'll move it to 2 for you. It'll pick it up a little bit. Still a little bit of a stutter there. And 3, as you can see there. So that's what it looks like at slow speed control. We'll check reverse. Sometimes the motor will act differently in forward than it does in reverse. There's 1 in reverse. Actually looks like it's even smoother in reverse than forward, but I could be wrong. You hear the air compressor kick on, some of those random ESU LokSound effects that kick on there. There's your slow speed control. Now let's get this up to speed and we'll get the top speed. It's winding up for the pitch here. And 71 scale miles per hour on the top speed. We've got pull test here. You can see that here. Ramping it up. That is about I'm going to say it's peaking at almost 3.6 ounces. About 52 freight cars. Might even work its way up to 60 freight cars. So that's what you're dealing with. 2 of these could pull 120, but in the 70s and 80s, probably looking at realistic consists. One thing I failed to mention is the MoPack, or the MoPower power packs. So those will have some reserve energy build up in them so that they have uninterrupted power for a few seconds for dirty track. Well guys, that's going to wrap up our review of the Rapido C30-7. We have the CSX and UP versions. Obviously, I leave the decision in your hands with some data that cannot be manipulated, from pull tests to slow speed control to other factors such as NMRA compliance, and show you a high definition unboxing and 360 views. But overall, I think it's a pretty solid model with good performance. Little issue with not playing well with the NCE Pro Cab sometimes, with just the ditch lights on the CSX on occasion, but I don't necessarily fault Rapido for that. That could be on the NCE side of things. I was able to resolve that by dealing with the decoder on another system. But overall, pretty nice model, and the first time I'm seeing step lighting on the model, on any model to my knowledge. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I don't think I've seen step lighting added from a company. I've seen it done after the fact from several detailers, people that make a living or make a side hustle adding details to locomotives after market, but not out of the factory. But again, you can possibly correct me. I could be wrong about that. So with that said, The decision's yours. If this is up your alley, I will leave you with a run by, and we'll see you next time right here on the channel. Take care.